Hello there everybody and welcome to Map the Dragon Railways, and today in this video I'm going to be bringing back this Triang Princess from the dead. So let's talk a little bit about it. If you have a closer look, you can see the body shell is filthy, absolutely filthy. The running plates are covered, as well as around the safety valves, etc. Anywhere dirt could cling onto, it basically has, and same with the tender. It's in rather a state. So yeah, that will need cleaning up. She does actually run, which is fantastic news. However, I'm sure the motor is in dire need of a service, as looking at the state of the model on the exterior, I think the interior is probably going to be a little bit nasty too. So the first thing I will do is start pulling this apart. So the Triang Princess is a classic model. Everyone knows the Triang Princess, I think. It was the first Triang model, and they were in the range for many years, I think. So yeah, that's a front screw and the body's off. Now that body can be took to cleaning, which is all fun and games. And I'm going to quickly look into doing the tender. So I think this one takes a different screwdriver, annoyingly. So I've just got to peer around and get one. And try and get my hand in there. And that's a screw off. And there we go. So the tender body's ready to go cleaning. And so will the chassis, to be honest. There's nothing really wrong with this chassis. Just needs a wheel clean up and that'll be fine. And inside you can see it's got a chuff tender, and you can see this is quite badly bent round, so I shall fix that in due course. I won't do that just yet though. Then you've got to wait for the tender, that doesn't need anything, and then the screw I shall pop in there. Right, so another thing you may have noticed straight away from the chassis is that it has the synchro smoke unit. So it's this clever little design where fluid is put in here, soaked in a wadding, and there's a heating element in there. And as the electricity flows through the model, the element heats up and then turns the liquid that you put in the bath into smoke. And there's this little gear on here that goes to the worm drive, and it's connected to this little bellow basically, and it pumps it out, so it more chuffs out than streams out. So yeah, quite a nice little thing that. Anyway, let's carry on pulling this thing apart. I will start with the smoke generator just because it stops the XO4 motor from coming out. However, I don't think I shall give this any sort of special work to it. I think it should be fine. And then it's time to pull the XO4 motor out. If you're wondering why I've got paper down, it's simply because I don't want to get on my table grubby. Right, so that's still all connected to the base keeper, which is fine. So if I can locate the screw, there we go. It's coming off. And there we go. The base keeper is loose. It's just easing it out of place. And there we go. And annoyingly, everything is still connected. However, I'm sure if I just pull these brushes out, there we go. The motor's on its own. The chassis is occupied with the base keep and that, but the motor's now sat on its own. So that can be ready for a routine service. So first thing to do is drop the brushes. Simple as that. I'm just going to put the screw in with the original base keeper, just so I sort of remember where some of the screws go. And let's have a look at the motor. The commutator looks alright, although it looks a bit filthy. And it's quite filthy in and around the motor, so that can have a good clean up. There's also a little bit of build up there, which I've just removed. The brushes I'll get onto in a second. Trusty old isopropanol alcohol, and soak it in with a cotton bud and get cleaning. And let's clean it up. You can, I don't know if you can see, I'll show you in a second. The cotton bud's already black. Just cleaning it up nicely. There you go, a black cotton bud. I am going to focus around the area the commutator is quickly, just for the simple fact is the dirt will transfer onto the commutator regardless, so I'll do that and then clean the commutator. So it's just working the cotton bud between the frame and the commutator, and again a black cotton bud, and then we'll do it again. So more IPA, and I'll work again between the commutator and the frame, and I think that'll do. That cotton bud didn't want to free up then. Again, black cotton bud. Let's do the commutator again. Now one trick, which annoyingly I've gone and forgot to pick one up, is a sewing pin or needle to go in the grooves for the commutator. There you go, a black cotton bud. However, I guess I can always use the old trick of a very thin screwdriver. If it doesn't fit through the existing hole, I shan't do it. Oh yeah, it does. Just scrape through it and wipe it off. And you normally go through those gaps a few times, but I'll just do a couple. Oh, this has come off, that's fine. I would have removed it anyway, so we're all right there. Yeah, that's that cleaned. So yeah, that's another clip. You can clean it up, polish up the end, but the end of it is already fairly polished. I don't know if you can see, sort of a tiny different shade. So the next thing, you can already see there's a deposit there. We're going to make it worse again, and we're going to clean these brushes. So again, cotton bud and IPA, you just rub the pad of the brush, because that's where contact makes. And that's where the arcing appears on the commutator. And it's already squeaking. Squeaky clean. I'm going to clean the rest of the brush because it's rather filthy, to be honest. Black cotton bud. Let's try again. Just to clean up. That's fairly clean there. It won't be perfect. And annoyingly, my big old fingers get in the way. But I shall show you here. You got this pad here. They wear down. You've got to replace them after they've worn down to nothing, basically. And just cleaning that pad up. That's done. So we're on to the next one. I think that's a fresh cotton bud. This is the fourth cotton bud already. And I'll try and make this visible for you on this one. But there we go. Just cleaning up the pad. You see how black all this was? So she definitely was in need of this service. And once this is all done, I mean, I'll keep on top of it, servicing it when it needs it. I might clean the back of this one. Just a quick wipe over. And I mean, you can see all the deposits here of all the rubbish from just the motor itself. So yeah, it's quite good. I'm just gonna, I saw a bit of dirt. That's got rid of it. Blew on it a little bit. So I mean, that motor is ready. I'm just going to clip this back on if it wants to, because there's a magnet. It's a bit difficult. I've noticed this is a little bit on the loose side, so I'm just going to get my pliers and I'm just going to, off camera, I'm still here audio wise out, just nip it a little bit. Probably nipped it a bit too much, but I mean, as long as it's nice and tight. Now is the struggle with fitting it. It's quite fiddly because it's a small loop and you can't really put anything in it. Just see if the old screwdriver can do it. Definitely a tighter fit now. There we go. Bit of assistance from the screwdriver and that's on nice and tight. It won't just fall off like it did before. That motor is essentially done. I shall leave the brushes though. And let's have a look at the chassis. Now, of course, we've got this annoying connection between the brush and the heating element, etc. So we can't really do a lot here, annoyingly. In fact, I might just refit the base keeper and screwdriver. And just nip it up. There we go. And I shall sort out these wheels in a second. Let's get a cotton bud. And seeing as I can't take this to the sink for a whole massive cleanup, I'm just going to rub it about with the cotton bud. Soak to an IPA. It's just a cleanup routine. It just makes sure everything's alright. A clean loco is a happy loco. And there we go. See, there's a bit of dirt. It's not terrible. I've seen much worse, to be honest. But, again, like I say, a happy loco. I'll just sit the smoke generator on top. So I think the next thing really is to assemble the chassis. So, I mean, that didn't take too long at all. I've got to fit these brushes now. If you've never done these before, they are a pain in the backside. If you've done many before, you sort of learn the knacker to them and you sort of, you know, you sort of do all right. So I'm just going to fit that one and that one. There you go. Make sure they're touching the commutator nicely. And just note that this insulation sleeve should be all the way covered on the end, so the brush is insulated from the brush. Chassis in place. Let's just pull this along and we slot the motor into place. And now in my collection of screws, which I believe is this little brass one, if I can get them out. This is a new investment, a couple quid, a little wooden box that I can just dispose of small loco parts. And it's a very good idea because, I mean, it can be very easy to lose loco parts. Now, one thing normally that would be easier to do, this is quite a strong magnet, which is good news, but it also makes it annoying to fit a screw. And I don't think that's even going anywhere. Hang on. Oh, so the magnet keeps pulling the screwdriver back. What normally would be easier anyway, as I was saying, would be to clean the wheels without the motor installed. But because we got this whole smoke generator rig just set up, then there's not much point. I mean, this is the bath inside, I'll just remove the top. And there's the wadding and the heating element. There's nothing much to it apart from those two main characteristics. And there's just a little hole in the top above the heating element that it just pumps out the smoke fluid. And you can get scented smoke fluid and all that. It's a very early version of a smoke generator inside a model locomotive, so it's quite interesting. Make sure that's engaged nicely. Yep. And then we've got this bit of an old brush here. A lot of them have. And there's this just tiny little wire, and you just got to tuck it in behind. Now, I say you just got to do it. It can be quite fiddly. That one luckily wasn't, so yeah. And one thing I've just noticed is this bit of exposed wire. And that's why you have a bit of electrical tape. That's much more than what I need. Better safe than sorry. And maybe one day I will be able to wrap this electrical tape around the exposed wire. And it's not the best of jobs, but that'll do. And I've just seen there's a little problem here. A wire has disconnected, and I don't know where it went. So what I'll do is I'll figure that out and I'll solder that at a later moment. I've still got to clean the loco body and that, so in that time I can solve that. So let's gently turn the model to its side. I think that would be the wisest decision. And let's get on to wheel cleaning. I'll start with the rear pony truck, and that's a split axle, so this is a later model. Cotton bud, IPA, spin. Yep, that one wasn't too bad. That's already used cotton bud. I don't know how many of you make that mistake. Go and douse an already used bit of cotton bud. Now, because these wheels are exposed all the way around, you don't have to do this centre one because it's not even flanged. Anyway, I don't know, with the body on, it obstructs half the wheel, whereas this, it doesn't. So I'm only doing the bottom half here at the moment. To be honest, they don't seem that bad. I'll flip the model over and I'll do the top half in a minute. Tell you what, you've seen this whole process before. I'll finish off the wheels until I flip it over to do the top half, and then I'll get back to you. Right, so I've just finished cleaning the bottom half of them wheels and the smaller wheels. So it's just time to actually soak the cotton bud in IPA and just wipe over this half. Quite simple, really. Again, the centre one doesn't really need doing, but we'll do it for the sake of doing it. And like I say, the wheels seem quite clean, which is quite fortunate. Just rub the IPA soaked cotton bud around the wheels. This just ensures a better contact with the rails, better electrical contact in general. So, apart from this wire, the chassis is nearly done. There is one more thing, and that's to get a trusty oil pan. Now, this is proper oil. I know I had complaints that I used a 3-in-1 and people don't like that. I know people don't like it, and I did do it on camera, but it was the only oil I had at the time. But now I have Gauge Master oil. I'm just going to soak the felt pads. There's one above the gear as well. Just soak them, and that will lubricate the bearings. I'm going to put a few drops on the worm, and then a couple drops on the smoke generator's bellow, just like so. That's nearly there. Then I'm just going to tip the model up and put small drops of oil on all the moving parts. Anything that I go a bit too much on, I shall just wipe off with a cotton bud. because I'm not going very careful here, am I? I'm just doing it fairly loosely and rough, just for the sake of being quick in the video. And we'll do the other side, just all the rods. Now that rod has a little kink in it, but I mean it ran fine, so I don't think I shall investigate that today. Just a few drops of oil. Like I say, normally I'd go a bit more careful with this, but today we're not, just to save time. Then we're onto the axles, so little drop in there, little drop in there, again in there, and there. Then for these, they got pinpoints in the rear pony, so it just dropped in there. They got little holes, which are quite handy. Then we got in there, and in there, right behind the wheel, right behind the wheel, right behind the wheel, right behind the wheel, in there, right behind the wheel. It's just getting those axles. That's the hardest bit to oil. And there we go. It's the hardest bit to oil, but when you've got one of these Gauge Master pens, it's got such a fine end on it, you can quite happily reach to the end of that. So what I'll do now is I shall discover where this wire once went, resolder it, clean the body and tender, and then I shall reassemble everything and then run it on the layout, and we shall see if this smoke generator works. I hope it does. Right, I'll be right back. So, one lunch break later, and I'm back here with some cleaned and dried off bodies. Now, do excuse the slight camera shake, it's my phone camera, it's not working. I'm using my phone today instead of the camera, because I wanted to try out a microphone, but I mean, I'm not too sure on them just yet. Anyway, less of that, let's look at the models. So, the cleaning, it went alright. I mean, they're nice and clean now. If we look at the tender, it looks quite nice. The only thing is it's faded up there, and some of the stick at this LMS on the side is a sticker. It's peeled away a couple places, but I mean, I'm not too fussed about that. It's more these top edges here. The chassis was perfectly fine. That's got to be worked on. But the body, that's when it went bad. I mean, the running plate, look how shiny and clean that is. The running plate's lovely now. But the top is not very good. It's very faded, and I think that's just over age more than anything else, to be honest. But I may think about doing a repaint on it eventually, so that might be a consideration for the future. But not for today. I think for now we will cope without, and we shall just reassemble the loco and tender. And as you may see, I have fixed the wire. It was going into there. It's all covered up now, so you can't see it. I did do a quick running test just to see if that was what was it, and I can show you all that later. But yeah, I mean, apart from that, it seems all right. I think the first thing though we shall focus on is the tender. Now, our main things are the wheels, which whilst it's a bare chassis, we might as well work on. Now, if you ever see me do that in any video in general, it's because a little bit of IPA falls on the end and of the spray nozzle, the tube that sucks it all up, and I just do that to dispose of it. And again, I forgot, split axles. Now, these are plastic. With the metal ones, you can put a wire wheel to them on the Dremel, but with these, you can't. I know I didn't on this example for the metal ones, but still. So that's going all right. They're not too bad, I don't think. They're cleaning up all right. Let's swap cotton buds. That one was already half used. Rest the cotton bud, use your finger to spin it around. it's a bit more pleasant when you haven't got these split axles, because there you go. Basically, oh, this one isn't split because it's got the striker. That's good news. Oh no, it is split, but the striker holds it together. That's nice. Right, so that's that done. And then we got a few more things. We've got the chuff, the weight, and the body, and the drawbar. So first, I think let's play about with this sound box. Basically, it just sits down here, and as the loco goes along, if I can slot it into place, that would be even better. I think that's it. You can't really hear it. Hang on, let me... Yeah, so it's not brilliant at the moment, and if I just turn, it's quite obvious. This wants straightening out. Let's try that. I think it's going to be a trial and error run this. Add a little bend in the bottom. Let's put the body on just for... And just excuse the sound, but... I do have better examples, definitely, but that'll do for now. Then the next thing is a weight. Now the weight seems to go in there. Then the chuff sits in the top. Then the drawbar sits on there. Hopefully it'll behave and stay in place. There we go. It's all clipped on. It's more of a click than a chuff, isn't it? Yeah, that doesn't matter. It's just the stuff on it's worn down. You could have it replaced, but there's not much point. I mean, it is an old model. Yeah, more of a click. Right, now we need to assemble it. Let's see if I can... No, I can't get my hand in there to slot it in. Ooh. Bit of advice with these screws and that, if you want them magnetic just to make life so much easier, just hit them against a magnet. Bit of science, that. Well, that's the tender assembled. So that's all finished, that end. So it's time for just the very last bit of this job. Oh no, I keep forgetting to say the coupling's bent. So I need to straighten that out. Now, it probably would have been easier to do it with the body on. There we go. That's all straightened out. And yeah, that's perfect. Now it's time to fit the body. Locate it at the rear somewhere. There we go. Sits down at the front. Put the screw in the front. Rubber screwdriver. And just screw it on. And there we go. That is a freshly overhauled Princess Elizabeth with smoke and sort of chuffing sound. More of a clicking sound, this one, but still. So I think without further ado, let's put it on the layout. Right, so here she is down on the layout, and it's the overall test of how will she run, if she will run at all. Just turn up the controller, and lo and behold, she's running. Running quite nicely as well. Let's try reverse. Bit of persuasion just to get it going again. Yeah, runs all right in reverse. Now I shan't do much running because of basically how long this video's gone, so it's going to be cut a bit short, but quickly, the smoke generator works. If I just hold it there, you can see it. And if I slow it down, the puffing goes slower, and if I speed it up, it goes faster. That's that bellow working. So yeah, works quite quickly. And yeah, Overall, a lovely loco. There you go. Not the smoothest of stops. I'll just nudge her forward for you. And so yes, anyway, sadly I'm going to cut it short here. Normally I'd do a longer bit of running and that, but because of how long the video's got, I'm going to cut it here. So if you did like the video, please do give it a thumbs up. Comment down below, what sort of smoke fluid do you use in these locos? I know people have their own different remedies. One I read was paraffin. Some people use some other stuff. Some people buy it out themselves. Some people make it. Some people buy it. I'd love to know what you do if you've got one. What do you think of the old smoke mechanism and these old models? I love them. And in general, anything about this model or just saying hello. Share this video with your friends. Sharing is caring helps get the channel out there and reach other people, new people to see the channel. And please do consider subscribing. It grows the channel immensely and I'm very grateful if you do so. And yes, so I think that's it. So thank you for watching and I shall see you all next time. Cheerio for now.